Here are my top 5 picks for red wines from Australia. Often when we think about Australian wines, we think about Shiraz. Let me tell you, there is much more to Australia than just Shiraz. Starting with Pinot Noir. We often don't think about Pinot Noir coming from Australia, but there are some regions that are a little bit cooler that allow this grape variety to ripen just perfectly. For our Pinot Noir, I've selected Tread Lightly. This one is a really interesting brand. Their focus is to be sustainable, but also have a tendency to produce lower alcohol options. So you'll notice that this one is 11%. Majority of red wines tend to fall between around 12.5% and go up to even 16%. So here we have a really refreshing option on the lighter side. So giving this wine a taste. Very typical Pinot Noir aromas. We have some strawberry, raspberry, red fruit notes, a little bit of earth. Because we're still coming from Australia, the flavors are still very ripe and refreshing. We do have a nice fresh acidity. Because the wine is lower alcohol, it's likely picked a bit earlier, which also retains that nice high acidity. I did say there was much more to Australia than Shiraz, but we also can't do a top 5 list without selecting a Shiraz. I've selected one called Wakefield Promised Land. This is a little bit of a lighter style of Shiraz. Gives you a really nice expression of the grape variety without being overly jammy or juicy. Let's give this one a taste. On the nose, very typical black fruit, blackberry, black cherry notes. On the palate, this is a medium-bodied Shiraz. Nice silky tannins, very ripe, and it has just a hint of that classic black pepper characteristic. Shiraz is the top planted grape variety in Australia, and it is planted in every single region. Australia has some of the oldest vines on the planet, and their Grenache vines are one of them. So here I've selected Yalumba's Bush Vine Grenache. A lot of these old vines are not planted to any system. They're planted in a nice little goblet, and they can be up to 100+ years old. Yalumba is an excellent producer of Grenache and many, many other wonderful things. So let's give this wine a try. What I like about Grenache is that it has this very distinct strawberry and white pepper note. I'm picking up all those notes on this wine here. On the palate, it's a little bit lighter in body. We have these medium, silky tannins, that intensity of the juicy strawberry notes, a hint of white pepper. This is a wine that's served, or that you can serve slightly chilled in the summertime. It helps reduce the alcohol. Grenache can be a little bit high in the alcohol content, and it also pairs perfectly with burgers. Moving on to Cabernet Sauvignon. When I think about Australia and Cabernet, I think right away of the Coonawarra region. Here we have this very distinct style of Cabernet that you won't find anywhere else in the world, and I always look to Wynn's. Wynn's is a historic property, and they are making some of the best Coonawarra Cabernet Sauvignons. And this one is an excellent value for quality. So let's give this wine a taste. So we get the very characteristic Cabernet Sauvignon notes with some black currant and very ripe dark fruit, as well as those sweet green herb notes. This is a powerful wine. It's full-bodied, it's high tannin. Those tannins are firm, but they slip away nicely. There's intense flavors. There's a really nice balance of oak. There's so much happening in the glass here, and it's so distinctly Coonawarra. Last up, we have Kingston Estate Petit Verdo. This is a grape variety that may be unfamiliar to most. It is a very inky, dark, full-bodied, and intense red wine. This is extremely popular with many of our customers. Let's give this wine a try. On the nose, it's quite savory. We have some black cherry, black plum, a little bit of licorice, very dark. Again, on the palate, we have this really punchy red wine. With a grape variety like this, we absolutely need the heat coming from Australia. Many of Australia's regions are quite warm, which is why we have these really powerful dark red wines. And this Petit Verdo is absolutely one of them. If you're looking for something very bold and expressive, Petit Verdot is your grape. So here we've looked at a wide range of styles from Australia. Not only have we looked at Shiraz, but also light-bodied wines like Pinot Noir and really deep Petit Verdo as well. There is so much to discover in Australia.